We have all grown up listening to the Ramayana, a divine epic passed down through generations, a tale of dharma, devotion, and sacrifice, a tale of a prince who honored his word, a war that reshaped kingdoms, and a legacy that continues to inspire. But there is another story within it, quieter, often forgotten, the story of Sita. Not just the goddess we worship in the temples, but the women who loved deeply, questioned fearlessly, suffered silently, and still chose grace over bitterness. Sita is often remembered for her patience, obedience, and strength. But do we really remember her sorrow, her longing, her courage to choose herself? Chitra Banerjee's The Forest of Enchantments finally let us hear Sita. This isn't the Ramayana as you have always heard it. This is the Ramayana told under the Ashoka tree, the one told from the eyes of women who lived it. Sita's beginning was as magical as it was mysterious. She wasn't born from a mother's womb. She emerged from the earth, discovered in a furrow by King Janak as he ploughed his field. To him, she was a gift, a child of nature. She grew up surrounded by love, music, philosophy, and open skies. Her heart was curious and her mind even more so. She questioned everything, the roles of women, the nature of duty, the meaning of love, and when she saw Ram for the first time, she felt something deep within her stir. He wasn't grand or boastful. He was calm, almost still, like a river holding secrets. They married under the blessings of sages and kings. But it wasn't just a union of men and women. It was the meeting of two souls ready to walk the path of dharma together. But the day Ram was to be crowned king, fate turned its face. Kaikeyi, Ram's stepmother, demanded her son Bharat to take the throne and that Ram be exiled for 14 years. Without any hesitation, Sita made her choice. Wherever you go. I did not marry the crown, I married the man, Sita said. They left the palace behind. Gold turned to dusk. Sita gave way to the bark robes. But in the forest, they found a strange kind of freedom. They lived simply, cooking, walking, watching the stars. Sita cherished those years. They were free from expectations, any kind of judgments. But darkness doesn't stay away forever. One day, a golden deer lured Ram away. In his absence, Ravana came, king of Lanka, disguised as a sage, and abducted her. He took her to Lanka, hoping she would eventually yield to him. He underestimated her. Sita sat under an Ashoka tree in his palace garden, day after day refusing his gifts, refusing his threats. You can take me across oceans, but my soul is not yours to claim, Sita said. When Ram finally arrived and defeated Ravana, Sita's heart leapt. The war was over, the long nightmare would end. She expected warmth, the embrace of her beloved, but instead she met silence and doubt. Ram, torn between the love of a husband and the burden of a king, stood still. He looked into her eyes, the same eyes that had walked beside him through exile and fire. But the world behind him was watching, a kingdom waiting, whispers of suspicion echoing in palace halls. With a heavy voice he said, "For the sake of my people, you must prove your purity." Sita's heart broke completely, not because she was questioned, but because he was the one asking. Still, she didn't cry or scream. Sita prayed to the gods, requesting to be burned to ash if she was unfaithful to Ram, and fire, in its all honesty, refused to harm her, proving her purity. Along with Sita, Ram's heart was completely shattered that day. He believed he was protecting her, even as it tore them apart. Later, when whispers in Ayodhya rose again, Ram was forced to make another impossible choice. As king, he had to uphold the law. As a man, he was breaking from within. He sent Sita away, not because he stopped loving her, but because he never stopped. And he believed that the only way to shield her from doubts was to let her go. She wandered in the forest all alone. No palace, no husband, just her strength. In the ashram of sage Valmiki, she found shelter and solace. There she brought new life into the world, love and Kush, the twin sons of Ram and Sita. She raised them with wisdom, teaching them music, truth, and stories of Ram. She never spoke ill of Ram. Pain stops with me. I will not pass it down, Sita said. Years passed. Ram ruled a golden kingdom, but his palace felt completely empty without Sita. Every festival, every song, even Ram's heart carried her name. But one day, universe aligned Ram's sons with him. Unknowingly, they shared every stories which was told to them by Sita, what all happened with her during her abduction. The truth sank Ram's heart. He could no longer hold back. Ram was completely shattered. He begged Sita to return, to come back to him. After all that she suffered, she decided to give him a chance and unite with her love. Ram once again stood at a crossroads between his love for the women who had walked through fire and his duty to a kingdom that still questioned her. And when she finally stood before him again, he was forced to ask her once more to prove herself. Not because he doubted her, but because the world still did. And that day, she chose not to fight, not to explain, but to return to the earth that once gave her birth, the earth that had always known her truth. I have walked through fire, through exile, through heartbreak. My truth is not yours to taste. If I have been true, take me home, Sita said. And the earth opened. Her mother welcomed her home, and she returned to where she came from. Ram stood in silence, broke not as a king, but as a man who had loved once, fearlessly, eternally, and lost her to the very world he tried to protect her from. Their love never ended. It just lived beyond reach, in echoes, in stars, in stories like this one. Now I want to share a piece of my heart, how I really felt. Reading The Forest of Enchantments didn't really feel like reading a book. It felt like sitting with a woman I thought I already knew. She isn't just a myth or a goddess sculptured in stone. She is every woman who has ever been silenced, every heart that has ever broken in the name of love, every soul that has carried pain with grace. She is not just a character in an epic. She is all of us. The girl who grew up dreaming of love and fairness. The woman who sacrifices again and again, hoping someone will finally see her truth. The mother who protects the wife who endures. And the human who finally chooses herself, even if the world misunderstands her. There were moments I had to pause while reading. Moments that made my chest ache. Not just for Sita, but for all the Sitas around us. The one who are expected to be pure, silent and selfless while carrying mountains alone. And also for Ram, the man who loved her deeply but was torn apart by the weight of Dharma. A man taught from the beginning that a king must place his people before his heart, his duty above his love. I felt this sorrow, the kind that doesn't scream but sits heavy in the soul. Ram wasn't heartless. He was completely shattered, forced to question the one person he trusted her the most, forced to walk away from the women he loved the most, not because he wanted to, but because the world demanded it of him. They were both victims of a world that asked too much of love. This story didn't really shatter my idea of devotion. It actually deepened it, because Sita showed me that devotion doesn't mean obedience, that love isn't proven by pain, and that living sometimes is the most sacred act of self-respect. If Sita's journey touched your soul the way it touched mine, leave a heart in the comments. Let her voice be heard, at last and forever. Do let me know which book should I post next. Thank you for listening. Thank you for remembering her. And maybe in some way remembering a part of yourself too.